Why each training session feels the same? The reason is literally because you're actually training the same thing over and over again. This actually has nothing to do with your training structure and everything to do with the goals you set. While you do set your long-term goals, you've got your planche, your front lever, your one-arm handstand that you want to be able to do. You may have your medium-term goals. I want to get to X amount or X progression within 6 months. What about your short-term goals? And I'm not saying like short-term as in weeks or months, but short-term goals as in within the session. The actual goal that you have set for the session. Do you actually set those goals? Now, if you don't actually have a goal for the session just becomes a gray area, a process to get the result. And that makes the session boring, unimportant. And how can you actually motivate yourself to actually do the session properly with the amount of force that you need in order to adapt to the movement that you're doing if you're not really interested in the session? It doesn't really correlate. It doesn't add up or make sense, does it? This is where a lot of people just get stuck within calisthenics, other sports as well, but mainly in calisthenics, we see this zone of being stuck on planche or on front lever. You made some progress at the start when you were excited, when you were happy to be there, but when it started to get boring, when it started to dip down and you started to actually properly dive into the routines and stuff, the routines didn't actually work. You were making more progress when you were just having fun when you try to actually implement a routine, when you try to be strict. Now, by no means, I'll get into this, but I don't mean don't create routines, just be free, do whatever you want, right? You can get results that way, but it's not the best way. So what do we do about this? Every session should have its own objective, own goal when we actually do our training. Like for instance, when we set our goals up to be able to do a full planche or be able to do full planche presses, we think about those goals. We think about what motivates us. We need to be doing that every single session though, right? That gets us motivated, that gets us hyped up. The problem is that a lot of people like to tune off within their sessions. They like to kind of take a step back and just let autopilot do the work, right? Games with autopilot are no fun though. However, a game with an actual objective that is challenging enough to get to is way more fun. What actually makes a better goal or better objective? We may be going from not having one or having a very bad one to trying to get a good goal that actually provides us energy, that actually motivates us to actually push properly within the session. I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to go first on volume because this is the most simple goal that you can implement. So my goal, I'm going to do 3 planche presses each session. I do 1 planche press, then the second planche press, then the third planche press. They're all in different sets though, right? So next session, I want to try and get my second planche press on one of the sets. So that means I've only done 2 sets instead of 3 sets. Right? This means I'm narrowing my number down. It's more like a game. It's more like, can I get my attempts under 2 or on 2 attempts? From there, what I've done is I've beaten the game. I've gotten the score of 3 within 2 attempts. So I can then increase the number. I can go to 4 planche presses. Can I get 2 and 2, right? Can I get 2 times over? Then I can go to 5 or 6, right? Same thing. Can I get 3 attempts, right? Can I get 3 planche presses in one, right? Those are good goals. Those are good objectives for volume. It gets a little bit more vague when you go into, I want to improve form this session. It's not that you can't be motivated to improve form, but you have to be specific on what exactly you want to improve. For example, if my protraction is really, really crap, I want to make sure that my protraction is engaged, the task is good form, right? Or I want to make sure that I have everything lined up. I'm just working on light volume, but just working on feeling the form, right? And what I count as a win is doing getting a couple attempts where it's very, very lined up. I've got my protraction, I've got whatever it is in the movement that you're doing correctly. I've just used planche as an example, but you can do this across all skills. Any goal is better than nothing. The more precise that you can be with your goals, the more motivated you'll be to actually do the session. So you heard me talking about protraction a little bit, and then I kind of wandered off into just the whole form in general. But those are really good goals to actually set yourself. I'm going to use this in one-arm handstand, not protraction, but just a specific focus, right? And that's going to be the side bend. I'm not going for time in this one-arm handstand attempt. Time isn't important. It's just whether I actually do the side bend properly or not, whether I break at the hips or not. I'm judging myself based on that. I can judge myself based on how far I go down during the video, if I've gone down further or just gone down the same amount. And that's a good objective to have. That's a very precise objective to have and a precise thing to work on. We have our volume goals. We have our form goals just as a whole, looking at the whole structure, making sure that everything is aligned, like we work on the bands. And then we've got our specifics that we focus on with each movement. Maybe that's protraction, maybe that's side bending, or maybe that's just keeping the elbow in, or whatever it is that you're really trying to focus on. Right? You can call that a little bit of a subclass within the form, the specifics of the form. The last topic that is super important to improve on, and this isn't really measurable via video, it's the mental state that you actually get yourself into before going into the planche, right? Did the planche feel light? You can judge it based off that. Does it feel light? Does it feel like I'm floating up in the planche? Or does it feel like I'm super heavy? I want to make it feel like it's super light. And I can do that, right? You can do that. You can change the way that you perceive the planche, right? If you're going in like, oh, I'm super tired, I don't feel like doing the session, it's going to feel like shit, right? But if you actually boost yourself up mentally, if you go in lighter, if you go in stronger, if you go in feeling encouraged or boosting yourself, right? Then you're going to have a lot better over time. So again, having a big goal, having a broad goal that's like, I want to get to the planche, isn't the only goal that you should have. It's too far away. We don't really care about it. This session isn't really important in the grand scheme of things. Having a medium-term goal, a month, the goal for the month, it's still enough, right? We need to make sure that the goal is for the session. What do I want to do? What do I want to improve? What do I want to get out of this session? Even if you don't get the result, you've still aimed, you've still put in so much more effort because you have a clear objective that isn't too far away. A structure should not feel like a prison. It should just be a good way for you to actually measure out your progress, whether you're improving or you're not. This is one of the first things that I teach when I bring in new clients. Most people will need to focus their training program around their training intent and training structure, as well as their goals. What gets them going? What gets them hyped up? What's the type of training that you like doing? Otherwise, the whole training structure will just seem boring. A structure shouldn't force you to spend hours on the same workout if that's not your style. If you want some one-to-one coaching assistance setting this up, then just click the coaching link down in the description. Peace.